From bid rigging to land stealing, the full story of the Christopher Emmanuel crash out, Christophe Emmanuel exposed a legacy of lies, land, and legal trouble. Christophe Emmanuel emerged as a significant figure in St. Martin's political landscape, initially gaining recognition for his role as the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment, and Infrastructure (VROMI) from December 2016 to January 2018. His tenure was marked by ambitious infrastructure projects aimed at rebuilding and enhancing public facilities, especially in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma in 2017. One of the most notable and contentious projects during his tenure was the erection of a large flagpole near Harold Jack's Lookout Point. Intended to symbolize national pride and resilience, the project faced criticism over its cost, location, and the manner in which it was executed. According to smartnews.com, the flagpole project was initiated on the Bell property just behind Harold Jack Hill, sparking debates about its necessity and the allocation of public funds. Emmanuel's decision-making came under further scrutiny when on his last day in office he leased out 12,000 square meters of land, reportedly against official advice. This action raised concerns about transparency and adherence to proper procedures, leading to increased public and legal scrutiny. Despite these controversies, Emmanuel maintained a strong presence in Parliament. Known for his assertive and often confrontational style, his approach to governance and debate was polarizing, earning both support and criticism from colleagues and constituents alike. Over time, Emmanuel's relationship with the National Alliance, NA, deteriorated. In December 2020, citing a departure from the party's founding principles, he resigned and declared himself an independent member of Parliament. This move allowed him to continue his political career while distancing himself from the party's internal dynamics. In an effort to re-establish his political influence, Emmanuel founded the Nation Opportunity Wealth Now Party. The party secured 2 seats in the January 2024 general elections, marking a modest but notable entry into the political arena. However, the party's influence waned in the subsequent August 2024 snap elections, where it managed to secure only 1 seat. Emmanuel's political trajectory, from a promising minister to a figure embroiled in legal controversies, underscores the complexities of governance and accountability in St. Martin. His story reflects broader themes of political ambition, the challenges of public service, and the consequences of alleged misconduct. As legal proceedings continue, the outcome will not only determine Emmanuel's fate, but also have broader implications for political integrity and public trust in the island's institutions. Behavior in Parliament and steroid abuse allegations. Christophe Emmanuel's tenure in Parliament has been marked by a confrontational and often combative demeanor. Colleagues and observers have noted his frequent outbursts and aggressive rhetoric during parliamentary sessions. While some attribute this behavior to his passionate advocacy, others have raised concerns about possible underlying factors influencing his conduct. Speculation has circulated regarding Emmanuel's physical transformation and heightened aggression, with some suggesting the possibility of steroid use. However, there is no concrete evidence or official confirmation to substantiate these claims. Such allegations remain in the realm of conjecture and have not been addressed through any formal investigations or medical evaluations. Emmanuel's confrontational approach has not been limited to parliamentary debates. He has publicly criticized and accused fellow politicians, including members of his former party, the National Alliance, NA. In a notable instance, Emmanuel accused the NA government and the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin, CBCS, of committing financial genocide in relation to the ENIA bailout agreement, as reported by SXMelections.com. His aggressive tactics have extended to interactions with the media. Emmanuel has been known to lash out at journalists who question his actions or report on controversies surrounding him. Such behavior has raised concerns about press freedom and the ability of the media to operate without intimidation. Despite these controversies, Emmanuel has maintained a base of support among certain segments of the electorate, who view his assertiveness as a sign of strength and determination. However, his polarizing conduct has also alienated many, contributing to a decline in his political influence and raising questions about his suitability for public office. Sabotage of the National Alliance. Christophe Emmanuel's departure from the National Alliance, NA, in December 2020 marked a significant turning point in his political career. His resignation was not merely a personal decision but a culmination of escalating tensions and ideological divergences within the party. Emmanuel cited a departure from the party's founding principles as his reason for leaving, stating that the NA no longer embodied the vision that initially drew him to its ranks. The rift between Emmanuel and the NA leadership had been widening for some time. Notably, Emmanuel refrained from signing the coalition agreement between the NA and the United People's Party, UPP, following the 2020 snap elections. This abstention signaled his growing discontent and foreshadowed his eventual resignation. Emmanuel's exit from the NA was not a quiet departure. He became an outspoken critic of the party, accusing it of abandoning its core values and failing to address the needs of the people. His critiques extended to specific policies and decisions, including the government's handling of the NEA bailout agreement, which he labeled as financial genocide. The former MP's attacks were not limited to policy disagreements. He also targeted individual members of the NA, including party leader and Prime Minister Silveria Jacobs. In various public statements and social media posts, Emmanuel accused Jacobs of deflecting from the political deficit within her coalition and attempting to place blame on other members of parliament. Emmanuel's relentless criticism and public denouncement strained his relationships within the political sphere. His actions were perceived by many as sabotage, undermining the unity and stability of the NA. The party's leadership responded with caution, emphasizing the importance of solidarity and reminding the public of the principle that one is innocent until proven guilty, particularly in light of Emmanuel's legal troubles. The culmination of these events led to Emmanuel's isolation from mainstream political circles. His confrontational approach and public attacks alienated former allies and eroded his support base. The once prominent politician found himself increasingly marginalized, his influence waning as he continued to distance himself from the party that had once been his political home. Legal troubles and investigations. Christophe Emmanuel's political career has been marred by a series of legal challenges and investigations casting a long shadow over his tenure in public office. These legal entanglements have not only tarnished his reputation, but have also raised serious questions about governance and accountability in St. Martin. The Begonia investigation. In October 2019, Emmanuel and his former chief of cabinet, Marisha Richardson, were arrested as part of the Begonia investigation. The probe centered on allegations that, during his time as Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, VROAMI, Emmanuel unlawfully leased government land to acquaintances, bypassing standard procedures and disadvantaging other applicants. The arrests were accompanied by house searches conducted by the National Detectives of St. Martin. Despite the gravity of the accusations, the Joint Court of Justice denied the prosecutor's office's request to prosecute Emmanuel in October 2020. The court concluded that the evidence presented was insufficient to establish a reasonable suspicion of guilt. This decision effectively halted the prosecution's efforts in the Begonia case. Indictment on bribery and corruption charges. Emmanuel's legal woes did not end with the Begonia investigation. In February 2025, he was indicted on multiple bribery and corruption charges linked to his tenure as VROAMI minister. The charges allege that Emmanuel accepted bribes from a co-suspect, who acted as a middleman for companies seeking construction permits. Additionally, Emmanuel, along with his former chief of staff and her partner, faced charges of defrauding the government of substantial sums of money. These indictments have intensified scrutiny on Emmanuel's actions while in office, further eroding public trust and raising concerns about systemic corruption within the government. Public and political repercussions. The legal challenges faced by Emmanuel have had significant political repercussions. His confrontational stance toward the prosecutor's office, which he likened to the Gestapo, has drawn criticism and highlighted tensions between elected officials and law enforcement agencies. Moreover, Emmanuel's legal troubles have strained his relationships within the political sphere. His former party, the National Alliance, distanced itself from him following his arrest, emphasizing the importance of due process and the presumption of innocence. Despite these challenges, Emmanuel has continued to assert his innocence and has accused the prosecutor's office of operating with political motives. His claims have been met with skepticism, and the ongoing legal proceedings continue to cast a long shadow over his political